Hey, Coach. All right. So now looking at this Division One approval of NIL disclosure and transparency rules. Oh my gosh, this is a big article with a lot of big words, and let me tell you, it took me a long time to kind of figure out what A, B, and C, and D and E and F were. They sure did. Anything the NCAA writes right now just doesn't make sense to me, but maybe it's me.
Yeah. It's for this to be on the NCAA website, it just speaks to kind of like everything that we keep talking about. There's a little bit of chaos in everything, and I look at this article that they posted, and really, it just looks like a bunch of word salad. At the end of the day, they've thrown it a bunch of ideas from a council of former athletes and current athletes. They've thrown these ideas down, and it literally looks like they just said, okay, you got an idea, let's throw it down, kind of thing. And there's not really, cause, effect, how this is going to change things and everything else. It's just a lot of word salad. But to that point, it is something that the NCAA is getting behind. Otherwise, they wouldn't have it on their
Okay, I got a quick question before you go on.
yeah.
Who the heck? Okay, it's the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. This is the
Right.
Division One Student Athlete Advisory Committee and former softball student athlete at Oklahoma State. Well, first of all, I mean, nothing against the softball student athlete at Oklahoma State, but might there be a few other views and perspectives that we ought to be bringing into this?
For nearly 50 years, Town & Country Sports has been the heartbeat of youth sports in North Austin, promoting fair play, sportsmanship, and most importantly, fun. TNC Sports is for kids of all ages, no matter the skill level, and we encourage the whole family to get involved. Right now, registration is open for soccer, flag football, baseball, girls volleyball, softball, lacrosse, and more. Space is limited. Don't wait. Sign up today at tncsports.org. TNC Sports. Come play with us.
It's just all over the place. But
okay, all right.
Yeah, the crazy thing about this is that when you're looking at this, it literally. I said this earlier. It looks very it looks very elementary,
Okay.
and from elementary, I'm really just saying that it's like we got an idea, throw it down. We
Yeah.
got to have something put out here, and to that point, there are some ideas in there that do have some things that are pretty interesting. And if the NCAA is already listening to this committee, you have to kind of like ask yourself what it is that they're proposing, and will the NCAA get behind some of this stuff? And so to that point, they had four elements that came out of this: was voluntary registration. And what they're talking about with voluntary registration is like they're really trying to get a handle on the NIL service providers. And
Yeah.
you and I have talked about those bad actors that are out there. They're out there right now, and I hate to be the boogeyman, but it's like those right now. There are agents that are out there that are making deals on behalf of student athletes that are probably pretty nefarious in nature, gouging an athlete and saying, hey, if you do this and you give me 20%, then, we'll have a great deal, kind of stuff. And so what they're trying to do by having voluntary registration is to have a database of what they, accredited, for lack of a better word, but they can't really accredit them. But having an accredited group of agents and financial advisors, attorneys that are able to be somewhere where somebody that's new, they listened to the Parent Portal show and they said, "Hey, go to this website. These are agents, these are lawyers, these are attorneys. You can have some type of piece that they're going to be on the up and up." And I really like that. I think that there's a giant need for that.
Yeah.
because of all the things that we've talked about on the past on the show. Disclosure requirements is another area that they wanted to kind of address. Disclosure requirements are, what is that? What are you wanting them to do? And what they're saying they want to do, they want the athletes, when they get an NIL deal, to report it to the university, and then the university in turn reports it to the NCAA. Interesting. It's an interesting concept because I think where they're going with it, and again, it's all over the place. I think where they're going with it is that, you know, somebody that's new to NIL doesn't know what to ask for when they're negotiating. Well, if you've negotiated, you know, with a good attorney and a good agent and a good accountant, that's their job. That's what their job is. That's, you know, surround yourself with greatness. We've talked about it in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And if these disclosure kind of moments would probably help that in some ways, and then it would also be able to give the NCAA a chance to look and see what exactly is happening out there in this world, because there is probably more unknown than there is known in that situation.
Sure. Yeah.
The third area that they wanted to talk about was standardizing contracts. I know Stephen Nold has been talking about this for ever. It seems like since day one that, you know,
3
being able
months.
to, yeah, and you want to be able to have a standardized contract. Well, most high schoolers, when they get out of high school, they didn't surround themselves with good people. They don't know what a contract is.
Sure.
You know, handshake is a foregone, old school, doesn't happen anymore kind of thought. And being able to protect yourself with a standardized contract is huge.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this one because at the very minimum, very least, it's an opportunity where, you know, the NCAA could actually do something to help the athletes not get taken advantage of.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then the last one is a comprehensive NIL education. Wow. I I don't think you're going to be able to get an athlete to sit in a room for 30 minutes, much less more than that, to try and teach them about all this stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Uh, and to say that there's a one pager that's out there that's going to be able to give them cliff notes for this, that's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
I think that the NIL education kind of comes from the place of being able to say, hey, uh, it identifies the lack of knowledge that is out there. That's what they're saying right here. It's like we don't have any knowledge of what's happening in our world, and
Yeah.
it just speaks to it. And so there's value there, but how do you get from A to B? How do you be able to teach, you know, an athlete, or, you know, be able to teach a parent what NIL is, what the portal transfers are? All those things are out there, and you don't usually get that knowledge until you're in that knowledge. And so it's firsthand experience as opposed to, you know, being able to teach something.
Bring your family together with a backyard game court from Sport Court of Austin. Moms love Sport Court because it's an active and safe place for the kids to gather. Dads love Sport Court because he gets to play like a kid again. Kids love Sport Court because all kids love to play. So give your kids a safe place to hang out and have fun. Call 512-335-9779 or go to sportcourtofaustin.com for more information. If you build it, they will play.
Buddy, something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suspect, Coach, this is probably a little more geared toward, I mean, certainly the education about the process and, you know, the contracts and all that is probably geared toward the parents. You know, we're in a family environment where I think we have different parent units that are very willing to do the education and read all the fine print and all that. And that's important. That's good to have that. When you start talking about education resources for student athletes, you know, I just remember the days when my buddy Roy Dunn was at SMU, and he talked about the resources that were in place for the football players and hopefully this is true for all athletes now with Title IX, that they had, just teaching assistants and educational hours that were conducive to the job of playing football or playing whatever sport. Swimmers have the same issues. The long hours that these kids and student athletes have to dedicate themselves to playing their sport to be competitive gets in the way of an education. And for the NCAA to come in and help provide comprehensive tools for all student athletes, and that's a good thing. So I'm on with it. I get it.
Yeah, the thing that I take away from this article is that somebody's trying to do something.
Yeah.
And look who it is. Student athletes, former student athletes that have been through the process of being, neglected, being overlooked, and saying, okay, if I was back in that situation, this is what I would want.
Yeah.
And then current athletes that are living this, experiencing this, are saying, we don't have any idea what's going on. And I think it's very revealing, as we look at our kids, they're just being honest in what they're experiencing and trying to put it on paper to be able to go to the NCAA and say, this is what we need help with.
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting to see what the NCAA does with this.
Yeah.
If it's just lip service.
Yeah. Well, so they adopted the proposal. So I don't know what adopting a proposal means, but I think to your point, Morgan Wynn has spent a lot of time and energy to kind of work through these recommendations and work through providing clear guidelines. But, we were talking about this 3 months ago. I remember when this all came out as what the NCAA was going to do 3 months ago. It's amazing to me it took 3 months to get to here. Maybe that was their deadline. But at this point, hey, adopt the proposal and put it in place. Because, oh, by the way, these student athletes need this now. Going into, we're already in the middle of a transfer portal time. This stuff's got to get out there. So, shame on NCAA. They've been 2 years at it. Why hasn't this already been available? But you know what? Hey, more power to them. If this is what it takes to get it in place and get this in front of the kids and make these elements available, then do it. Let's not be an agency. Let's be a group that is providing tangible results.
Has to be something that you're justifying your existence. You really do. If you're the NCAA, you just can't say we are the NCAA. Those are just words. And I think that what's happened is that people have come from that place of being able to trust that to a place of like, we don't get it because this is not what you're doing. You're not doing anything. And they need leadership.
I agree, Coach.
Buying or selling a home is a bit of a challenge in today's changing Austin market. If you're moving to Austin or selling in Austin, you need to reach out to one of my long-term friends and the guy who helped me, Chris Ott, with the Ott Group of Keller Williams Realty. I needed a professional with knowledge of the Austin area, and Chris was the right agent for the job. Chris, his business partner, Teresa Ott Bissot, and their team have helped thousands of people. The Ott family is celebrating over 35 years in Austin and plan to provide their real estate services for many more years to come. Their mantra is, your move matters, and that is what they focus on. Go to their website at theottgroup.com and get connected with professionals dedicated to taking care of you. That's TheOttGroup.com. You can also call 512-222-6881 or email them at info@theottgroup.com to get connected with them today. Let them know that Stephen with the Parent Portal Show sent you and start working on your next move.
You've seen prices rise from the dinner table to the pump, but Allstate agents are seeing ways to save you money on insurance. From starting a new policy to bundling coverage or even driving safely, Allstate agents know how to maximize your savings. They'll share their knowledge as they help you personalize your coverage. Because when it comes to seeing all the ways to save, Allstate agents do it best.
Mike Hammer has over 35 years as an Austin area Allstate agent. Call 512-343-6994 or visit MikeHammer@allstate.com.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the Parent Portal Show.